Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Holding Court with the Empress of West Hollywood. My name's Enoch Miller, your Empress of WeHo, and thank you so much for being with us today. We're super excited today because it's going to be a little extra special on the episode because our guest, DJ Hector Fonseca, is actually not able to be with us today. He is going to be shooting in live from us from sunny Miami, Florida, while we're out here in West Hollywood, California. So thank you guys so much, and we're so excited. So we're going to get on him as soon as he comes in with us, and it'll be just 1 second. And so we wanted to give a great shout out, though, to gaylifela.com, as well as what we're doing here for everything they do for all your interesting LGBT media and everything you need with that. So let's give 1 second. We're going to check in with Hector. He just needs to do a quick comment in. That way we can make sure we get him on here for the viewers. So I really appreciate you guys taking a tune into this. And for anyone who doesn't know, too, a nice little point, the thing we want to bring up with all our people is that here in West Hollywood, they're actually going to be doing a lot of new stuff for seismic retrofitting, different things with Casta Hawkins for rent-controlled apartments. So if you have any questions about those things and would like to know more about getting on there and getting our voices heard for the City of West Hollywood and our City Council, go look at weho.org and check out all the different things they have coming up with us today to see how to get on board with that. So let's just take a quick second, and I'm going to check to make sure we have Hector, who's going to comment in with us and get him to get on board. So we'll just be a few moment with that. I'm going to ask my lovely assistant, my partner, Douglas, if he could message Brad, or I'll say Brad, let Hector know. Yeah, can you message Hector and just tell him to on there? Oh, he is. Oh, and there she is. 1 second. Bring Hector on. It's a moment of truth, guys. See if we can do this. Hold on one second. Let me try that again. I am on camera. There we go. Hi, Hector.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you. You're looking stunning in Miami, Florida.
I was out on the beach all day with Natasha.
Ah, so you're all glistening and sunny and glowing with radiance from Florida.
It's a nice day on the beach.
That's beautiful, and I bet it is. I bet it's absolutely fantastic, especially the beach. It's always so stunning. And anyone who doesn't know, DJ Hector Fonseca is the Puerto Ricano trade of the turntables, DJ extraordinaire. You have DJ from New York to LA, Italy to Paris to all different places. Hector, for you, what was your favorite thing about DJing that you really absolutely loved the most about the whole experience?
Say that again?
What's your favorite thing about DJing and the entire experience about it for you?
I think for me, being a music producer, it's about the reaction to remixes and tracks when I've created them, or when we have stuff that's signed to my label Audio Foreplay.
Right.
You know, a lot of times it's we get to test the music out to the audience first.
Yeah.
So.
And the great thing about what you talk about too is you're not just a DJ. You're a remixer. You're a writer. You're a producer. You're all these different things wrapped into one. When you go and try and do a remix, what comes first for you? Is it the music? Is it the lyrics? Or how do you kind of build up a track from making it your own personal creation?
A lot of times I just get sent the stems,
Okay.
and once stems, by that point I already know what I want to do with the song.
Okay.
But when I get the pure vocals, it's really when I know which way is the best way to go.
Awesome.
Because the raw vocals kind of give you an idea of, where it should be.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's really fascinating. And I know every person's process is different, and it's always how you figure out and do this. Is there a specific way you have that you go from start to finish on building a track and getting everything set up? Do you specifically start with the vocals, then you go to music, or do you kind of play around with everything?
For me, it starts with keyboards.
Okay, it starts with keyboard. Okay.
So once I do the melody and I do keyboards, then I know, okay, what would work with this best. A lot of times, because I play, a lot of circuit parties,
right.
it's often in a Latin tribal vibe.
Okay.
Especially working with some of the Brazilian guys, the Mexican guys I've been working with the last few years, like Zabianco, Tommy Love, and Eduardo. When we team up, it's a very tribal Latin vibe.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of people have compared. Yeah. I mean, just for anyone who doesn't know, your style is a mix between house, tribal, progressive, electro. Out Magazine dubbed it as Electribal, which I thought was kind of cool, and I love that little phrase they gave to it back in 2011. And for you, it's really, I mean, just this whole culture that you kind of bring with you as well. When people come to your gigs and events, they're really transported to this whole party and experience that brings this whole community together. Out of all the different things you get to do as from either the electric aspect of it or from the Latino community, is there one specific part that you enjoy more than the others?
No, I think that's kind of why I mix everything together, because I have the side of me that's from circuit parties and also from the house music scene, as well as from the electronic side, and also my Latin roots.
Yeah.
So. And
you grew up. I mean, you're Puerto Rican. You grew up in New York, originally born in the Bronx, and then grew up in Jersey. What is your experience? Because a lot of people have different experiences from East to West Coast, especially in the U.S. What is your experience from being New York to L.A. and what do you like differently about the two of them?
For me, LA is more, it's an outdoors, the feeling is more outdoors and good.
Yes.
And these kind of, so it's kind of a happier vibe. New York, work, and you deal with high rises and things like that. So it's that's a different, it's a more metropolitan vibe, traditional sense. Whereas California is just like, sunshine.
Right. And you started out in the kind of the late 1990s, early 2000s with everything. And really kind of your first gig was out in Limelight back in New York, which is unfortunately no longer there anymore. And then your first residency was at Heaven. What was like going up to Mark Berkeley and giving him your track and saying, hey, I'd like you to hear my demo. I'd like you to maybe consider me as a mixologist and being here. What was your initial reaction going up to him and asking and giving him your demo?
You mean with Mark Berkeley? Yeah. So Mark Berkeley was friends with mutual friends of mine, and back that time you had to kind of really give out mixtapes, and you had to kind of pay your dues and do stuff for free. Right. So I was willing to play anywhere. I just wanted to play, and I had my records and my vinyl. One day I put together a mixtape, and a friend of mine introduced us, and because of the fact that I was doing stuff on Star 69, Peter Rauhofer's label, he was really interested in knowing, what do you sound like live, and what would it be like for you to be playing live every week for an audience, and that turned into a weekly residency at Heaven, which was 18 and over, so that was a pretty young crowd, so I could play an edgier sound to that crowd. So it ended up being great because I could test out new stuff and new sounds that I couldn't necessarily play in other places. So. And
you've been quoted before in different interviews saying that you've kind of had a little bit of a harder trek kind of paying your dues through the DJ scene because you were initially a model before that. And they kind of didn't really pay as much respect to you in the very beginning because they kind of looked at you this pretty boy instead of actually thinking you had talent. What was your most difficult part about all that?
Yeah, I think starting off young and being a model at that time and having no connection to the music world at that point. That it was kind of looked down on. It was kind of like, okay, well, you're just using your looks to get here. Right. So my mentor taught me to focus on, I had to have discipline And, you know, when everyone else wants to be out, you need to be home making beats.
Okay.
So that was something that was taught to me early because, you know, I had to prove myself.
Right.
It's different now. Now you can kind of just put out a mixed set on SoundCloud, but back then you couldn't do that.
Okay.
You know, it was, you know.
So what was the biggest hurdle of it all for you?
I think for me, probably. I mean, for me, I would say the networking part of it, because you know, I was obsessed with the music end of it, but you also, you know, I also had to network a lot and had to like get to know the right people, and you know, so that was like really important, you know, at that time. So I had to learn to really, you know, kind of to pull away from the studio at times and network and get in the right situations, so could hear what I was working on.
Gotcha.
So,
and is it did being a model help with that at all? I mean, because you were probably used to having to go to events, going to parties, going things like that, and being put in front of important people.
Yeah, I had connections in the fashion world, so I was able to get some paid gigs early on that were big. They were unpaid, but they were pretty big gigs. So,
and those
there were things.
Were those like
like
actual fashion like shows, and you DJ'd for the show?
No, like after party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after parties, you know, after fashion shows or after events, you know.
Did you do any actual shows and DJ for the runway, the people that were walking on the runway and during a modeling show?
Yeah, I did. I did music for Victor Alfaro. I did that show. I did Jill Stewart. I did Tommy Hilfiger. I did a few others. Yeah.
So how do you work with a designer on that? Because I know designers are very particular. They have their theme. They have their everything with that. Did they give you a little bit of free reign with stuff, or were you kind of set to what they wanted to do?
It was a little bit of both, because they would say, we want this sound, and what do you have that's like this? And then I would put stuff, and I would you know, I would have to edit stuff and go back and forth, and a lot of times at the very last minute we would go back to the first thing I did. So all edits between were like a waste of time, which it was rough, you know.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, and I also know designers are very opinionated. They want what they want, and they're all consumed by umpteen billion things going on, from models to design to the clothes and everything with that. So that sounds amazing. I'd like to go back just to how you kind of got involved with music. I know you've always loved music as a kid. You would buy records and find different ways to get music. You didn't necessarily have access to the drums you wanted, but you had the maracas and things you got to do with that. Kind of explain how your love of music developed.
For me, it was like a lot of experimenting. So early on, you know, I grew up around like Latin music, salsa, merengue, and all that stuff. And then eventually, you know, being in New York, being around the house music scene, it became a big influential moment in my life when I got to hear DJs in New York. And so it kind of all mixed in together. And then I got turned on to some of the early producers that I followed, like Junior Vasquez, Peter Rauhofer, Victor Calderone, and these guys that were producing out of New York. And so that turned out to be like one of the biggest influences for me was like what was going on in New York nightlife culture.
And I mean, there's hundreds of influences out there. Was there one besides your mentor that really kind of stood out to you, that you were like, you kind of molded your early start as a DJ towards that particular genre or particular artist that you were seeing in the scene?
Yeah, Todd Terry, David Morales, those two, and probably Junior Vasquez, because I actually got to hear him every week, almost, and that kind of inspired me to make music.
Okay, fantastic. I'd like to dive
experiencing that, on Saturdays.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to dive into your family life, because I know you have a really close family. and you all are very supportive of each other. I saw a couple of interviews where you said someone asked you like what were your parents' initial reactions to you telling them you wanted to be a DJ, and basically what they said, as long as you can play for your cousin's quinceañera, we're happy with it. What was the initial conversation like with your mom and your dad about saying, hey, I want to pursue this kind of career in music?
I think they were, you know, in the beginning they were disappointed because I was in school and I dropped out of school at that point to model and then became a DJ. So they felt I should go back to school and finish my degree. They didn't really see DJing and making and producing music as a big thing because it wasn't big at that time.
Oh, okay.
So they, yeah. So they, but now they love it.
Okay, because you initially went to Penn State to do marketing, and so you were doing that at the time, and then you dropped out from Penn State to go to DJ.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I mean, your parents are so supportive. I mean, you see the love that they have all over your social media, what they put up and post, and they're so adorable. For you, growing up, especially in the Latin community and being an LGBT artist, did you find a little controversy with that demographic of playing for the Latin community and getting any kind of backlash for being gay, or was there a very kind of openly streamline of LGBT Latins that really were embracing your music?
No, I never got any backlash at all. I mean, for me, I think the music, was such a big part of my DJing that it never became, about being gay or straight or this or that.
Got it.
So, yeah, I never really had any negative
which is fantastic. Yeah, and I honestly I hear that a lot from a lot of people. They say most people appreciate the artist first, and who just happens to be gay or straight or whatever else is that. It's an act.
Right.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now I want to get into the main thing, which we're really excited about, your label and everything you're doing that with Audio Foreplay, and you have some amazing things coming up here in the future. Give us a little preview as to what you're working on now, and then what we can expect for Audio Foreplay and Hector Fonseca.
Yeah, so we've put out like 50 releases at this point, and we just celebrated with Audio Foreplay Essentials, which is our first 50 releases and the top releases from that time. And we've done, we also have a new record from Stash coming up. We have my new record, which will be with Karina K. It's called It's a Fine Day.
Okay.
You could see her performing at White Party, Palm Springs. We have, besides that, we have a Natasha Bissez record coming up. We have, she's here with me upstairs. We just performed Miami Pride.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I saw pictures from that. It looked amazing out there for Pride.
Yeah, it was amazing, really. And her performance is great.
Awesome.
Her live vocals are like some of the best. So yeah, we have a bunch of different artists coming out. I'm really excited about Stash. New Ricky Rebel.
Right.
He has a new song with Vivacious called Runway, and we're releasing that with remixes.
Fantastic.
And we have so we have all that stuff coming up.
Is there anyone else you can name drop for us a little bit that might be coming up as well besides Ricky and Stash?
Well, I just remixed Laverne Cox.
Oh, wow.
Beat for the Gods. I'm possibly working on something for Todrick Hall.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and
is that part of his new,
Emily Perry?
I'm sorry, is that part of his new Forbidden album?
Yeah. Oh, well, his new stuff.
Okay.
And Emily Perry, who's a new artist I'm excited about.
Fantastic.
Working with her on something, and this year I executive produced a song for Lifeball in Vienna. So, we're going to be seeing that, and there's talks of a bunch of different artists performing it, so that's exciting.
That's really amazing, and I mean, it's always great to see new stuff coming out, especially when there's new music. And I mean, DJs, as you have such amazing liberties to take with these music to really make them your own and really make them shine in ways a lot of people didn't even realize you could. I mean, you've taken music before that they've increased their Billboard chart rating just because they got a remix for you and people wanted to hear the original song after they're hearing your remix. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
How, because you have right now currently 20 plus #1 Billboard remixes on the club scene for the music charts. What was that initial experience of you getting on the dance Billboard and all that music being up there and that recognition? Were you floored that you were actually getting that kind of instant notoriety, or was it kind of the process where you're just like, oh my god, I'm finally making it and getting to where I need to be as an artist?
I just kind of took the mixes as they came in. My music manager and the different requests. I was lucky to work with someone who is a legend in that industry, Hush Corelli, who used to be at Arista Records, and so he kind of guided me on that. And as things came in, I just realized things were kind of adding up. You know, I first had the first Billboard #1 with Peacock, Katy Perry. And then then there was like Rihanna and Beyonce, and it just kept going and going. So I think at one point I just kind of looked back and said, wow, I have, this is like number 20. And then it's like, this is number 21, this is number 22. So it was like, it kind of all just happened.
That's fantastic. I know from a couple interviews you did that you were really excited to do some work with Lady Gaga on her Born This Way single that she did, and you really got a positive response from the LGBT community, from a lot of youth. What was that initial experience like for you of getting all this response from fans and them saying how much you helping promote that single really inspired them to come out to their parents?
I think for me it was a really important song, so I actually requested. I had done a remix before, but it wasn't official, so I had requested to do an official one. And then it came in. I got asked to do it, and it was such an important song. I think I did like 4 remixes, 4 versions, and they took one. So. So that was, I felt it was a really important song, and I started to get messages and notes from people saying that they felt like the song meant a lot to them, and the remix was just, it kind of took things to another level because they got to party and dance to it. So it was nice. It was a nice feeling to get messages like that.
And that's fantastic. I mean, honestly, too few times we do not have people we can always look up to as inspirations, especially for the LGBT community that are out there. I mean, doing what they do, having fun, being in their careers, and just being successful. And it's always really inspiring to see people like you to help bring light to that for our next generation. You've been traveling worldwide since the beginning, doing parties, white party, black party, gay prides, all these different things. Is there a specific one that you enjoy more than any of the rest?
I really loved New Year's in Thailand this past year.
Oh, yeah. I heard that's insane.
The week Brazil was great.
Okay.
And I always love playing there. I'm going at the end of the month. And what else? I played Circuit Festival a few times, and that was great back in the day. And Miami Pride was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Mardi Gras, Australia. I mean, there's so many.
Oh, well, there is so many. I mean, you can go check it out on his website. There are like 30, and they just keep adding on and adding on. And I know you do a lot of repeats every year where you come back to the same event, and they have you come back because you were such a hit the year before. So that's always exciting to see that. Have you ever potentially thought about doing, have you ever done LA Pride for the Latin stage they have on there as well, and DJ'd for that?
I did. I don't know if it was the Latin stage, but I did one of the stages for LA Pride. Yeah.
So it was either Latin,
it was fun.
Latin or main stage, one of those two?
Yeah, I think it was main.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, we're super excited to see what you have coming up in the future. Besides the label and everything going on with Audio Foreplay, is there anything people can expect to see from any gigs you have coming up that they can check out?
You're going to be hearing a lot of official remixes that I have coming up, and I'm working on original stuff with artists like Natasha, Karina, and a few others. So I'll have probably an EP album coming up. So that's that's what you should be looking out for at gigs coming up.
Oh, fantastic. So keep in mind, check out Hector Fonseca. You can see all his stuff at DJ Hector Fonseca, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all's it. And then you can go to hectorfonseca.com and check out his website there with all his amazing information and everywhere he's going to be. So go check him out. Thank you so much for being on here with us today, Hector, from sunny Miami. Oh, we're so excited. We want to give a special shout out to GayLife.
Nighttime here now, but yeah.
It is nighttime, right? It's about to be nighttime here in a little bit, so you guys are 3 hours ahead of us on that. But thank you again, Hector. We'll check in with you soon to see how everything's going.
Thank you.
And have a great evening.
Sure. You too.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
I don't know how to...
Thank you.